today we'll be discussing Black literature. Where is the story meeting us on our journeys as Africans in the US? People navigating new dreams.
Yes.
You know, and so the book that I'm going to be drawing from mainly is Nervous Conditions by Tsitsi Dangarembga. And Tsitsi Dangarembga was the first Black Zimbabwean woman to actually publish a book in English, and this book was published in 1988. And the story, it's based in Zimbabwe, Rhodesia then, in the 1960s. And it offers us a post-colonial perspective. She writes this book through the lens of Tambudzai, who's called Tambu throughout the book. So the first line in her book says, "I wasn't sorry when my brother died." And so what happens after Tambu's brother dies? Tambu finally gets an opportunity to go to the mission school in the city.
Just to add the fact that when her brother was actually going to the school, and so she didn't have a chance because only one kid could go, and obviously the male child will get educated.
Yeah, and the brother was younger.
Yeah, but she was very smart, and at the time she wasn't even in school because they couldn't afford to put her in school.
And then eventually she gets an opportunity to go to an even better school for high school, Sacred Heart.
Yeah.
We experience Tambu transitioning from the village, the rural village, to the mission school, to Sacred Heart. And I think what I'm about to read really captures a lot of what Tsitsi is trying to bring out. And it's this nervous condition which she calls Englishness. And the person who names this issue in the book is my Nini, who is Tambu's mother. And so here goes. "It's the Englishness," she said. "It'll kill them all if they aren't careful." And then Tambu is reflecting. Was I being careful enough? I wondered. For I was beginning to have a suspicion. No, more than the seed of a suspicion. That I had been too eager to leave the homestead and embrace the Englishness of the mission. And after that, the more concentrated Englishness of Sacred Heart. And then she starts to have nightmares, and she says, "That should tell you how much my mother's words disturb me." I had not had a nightmare since the first time I went to the mission.
What?
I was young then and able to banish things, but seeds do grow. Although I wasn't aware of it then, no longer could I accept Sacred Heart and what it represented as a sunrise on my horizon. Quietly and extremely fitfully, something in my mind began to assert itself, to question things and refuse to be brainwashed, bringing me to this time when I can set down the story. It was a long and painful process for me. That process of expansion. It was a process whose events stretched over many years and would fill another volume. But the story I have told here is my own story. The story of 4 women whom I loved and are men. The story is how it all began. Tambu alludes to this notion that becoming aware of Englishness being the problem and her mother helping her name it almost launched her into this space of questioning, almost, negotiating a comfort with that space of questioning. She's kind of like, I don't even know where this questioning is going to take me. But I am in this questioning.
Englishness. It's a heavy term. Can you just kind of articulate what Englishness is? What is meant by Englishness?
The English language was what came with the reality of a colonial history. So when a language is imposed on you, the culture of that language is also imposed on you. So it almost implies a whole worldview, a whole way of looking at and being in the world. And I think the title of her book, Nervous Conditions, it comes from Frantz Fanon's The Wretched of the Earth. And it's in the foreword that Jean-Paul Sartre, I think is how you say his name, wrote. And he used this term, nervous condition, to kind of describe that reality that people who have been colonized might experience. And so
like that double consciousness.
I was just going to say a double consciousness.
Yeah. I love how she uses my Nini to actually bring forward this concept of Englishness, because my Nini doesn't speak English, right? And for her, she needed to like pinpoint what this thing is that when people go and they get educated, they come back and all of a sudden they don't eat pap with their hands anymore. They need a knife and fork, and just certain things where she's like, something happened. I don't know what happened when you were out there, but you came back very different. And all I have to show for the fact that there's something really different is this English that you're speaking now, And
I think it's also like this idea of the double consciousness and like the nervousness that you get from that is like this idea that you have two identities that seem to be at war with each other, sort of like being caught in the middle of them, and that being caught in the middle is that kind of nervous, unsettled kind of space that a lot of Black people are living in. I was watching this documentary. It was about a tribe from the Khoisan. There's only 4 people left who speak their language, and they're all in their 80s. A lot of their community had to work on white people's farms, and at those farms they were forced to speak English or Afrikaans. They weren't allowed to speak their language, and their language was seen as disgusting. And so now there's only these 4 people left, and what's lost with that is what you were saying earlier, that language is associated to your culture. It's associated to your heritage. Like, we're losing that connection by being forced to speak in English.
When you were reading the passage, and she was talking about Sacred Heart, I couldn't help but just like laugh over the fact that like America's my Sacred Heart. Like, I've been aspiring, and I mean, now that I'm here, all these questions that I'm just like, I've never wondered that before. I've never wondered about who would I be if I wasn't coming from a, I guess, English medium school, or that's what we call them, English medium schools. You know what I mean?
On that note, I find that some of the moments that I have that forced me to go deeper into my own identity questions are even just in the classroom. Where coming here, I've had to be more thoughtful around owning my own lived experience and my own reality, because more times than not, I'm the only African in my class. I tend to have different views and different perspectives, and so I wonder what is happening to me as I sit in these classroom spaces day after day, hearing this one dominant American narrative. I chose to come here, and at the same time, it's like I feel that frustration, and what part of me is being changed.
I was listening to this woman speak the other day, and she was saying, she's from Singapore, and she was saying she never knew that she was Asian until she came to America. Like, she never thought of herself on those terms. And so I think for me, there's something about when you're taken out of your normal space of habitat where you're just a person and your humanity and dignity are just a given, and you go into these other spaces that tell you you're not just a person, you're this. But I started having these questions when I moved to these spaces. So when I went to live in London, and all of a sudden, instead of being a part of a population where I'm the majority, I'm now a minority. You know, and so now I have to think, oh, what does it mean to be a minority? You know, and then when I come to the US, I feel my Africanness more. You know, it's almost like you constantly having to prove your humanity and prove your worth.
When I first moved here, I've never had to prove my Africanness. It's just not something that ever crossed my mind, right? But now, having moved here, I feel like I need to first assert that I'm African, and also do it with a sense of pride now that I need to give to it. Like I can't just say I'm African and allow you to go away with your conceptions of Africanism or what Africans are, what we've gone through. I just never had to be intentional about that. So one thing when I came here, I went through this phase where, and you can check on my Instagram, I changed my name to my second name, which is an African name, because every time, I'd be wearing like an outfit with something like maybe an African t-shirt or something, and people are like, oh, you're from Africa, what's your name? And I'm like, Denise, and they just give me this, did you just get that name when you came with the border? I'm like, no, I grew up with that name my whole life. You know, not shortened, not Denise, that's what I grew up with. And now all of a sudden I need to figure out how I can reframe myself so that I'm African enough and that I'm proud enough.
Something that happened to me when I came here is I became more aware of the common Black experience around the world. So I went to London, I saw like the Black experience there, and then when I got back to South Africa, I felt like the parallels, and then I came here and I feel more parallels. So I found myself deeply disturbed by having a broader understanding of the Black experience around the world. And I read Toni Morrison's Beloved, and I was even more disturbed because what that book does, it highlights the post-traumatic stress disorder in the Black community that I personally think the Black community is living with. Some people can argue against that, but and once I heard a woman calling it present traumatic stress disorder. The Black, and for me, I think that ties in with this topic of nervous conditions. I feel like this PTSD that the Black community lives with is a nervous condition, and I feel like Beloved helped me understand that and help me identify it and define it, as well as understand like this unsettled feeling that I'm often living with.
With this book specifically, it took me back to even a time when I was 12. And it's this phase of my life that I haven't been able to even articulate or explain to anyone, you know? And it was when I moved from Polokwane to Pretoria, from speaking only Sepedi. I only used to speak English in class, you know, to all my friends and to my family. And then all of a sudden I moved to Pretoria, and then I have friends who aren't speaking my home language. So all of a sudden I have to start speaking to my friends in English. I remember that shift and that discomfort. And this move to the US for me has also been like, oh my God, like another added layer of this Englishness. You know, Tsitsi really helped me to just be in that tension, even if I don't really have it figured out, or you know, but to just say, oh, okay, it's okay. It's okay, and you can be in your process, and that allows me to sort of own my own lived experiences. It's like a re-grounding